Hey, how y'all doing out there? This is your Uncle Steve, and it's Sunday, so you know it's time for the Sunday chill. Couple of questions today, but we're gonna ask you for your questions as well. My biggest thing I wanted to talk about today, as far as Atlanta Falcon fans, we're coming up on the time of the year. We passed the draft, we're past free agency, and now we're talking about camps and OTAs. As an Atlanta Falcon fan, do you really care about the training camps? Or are you just ready to kick this thing off in the regular season? Just wanted to know between friends. Until then, let's get back to it in a second. Hey, what's going on? How you doing out there? This is your Uncle Steve here on Uncle Steve's Lounge. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Twitch. We are live on Twitter, and we welcome you all into the Sunday Lounge. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't been to the station before, thank you for stopping in for the first time. Please subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you on any platform you would like. Thank you so much and appreciate you joining us for the Sunday chill. Well, it's that time of the year. We passed free agency, we passed the draft, and it's kind of like that malaise right now where, oh man, I can't wait to that first game. We've already gone through the schedule release and all that good stuff. And now the next thing on the plate is training camp, OTAs, which of course now this year the fans can't go to because they're doing construction up at Flowery Branch, which I understand. I'm not trying to be nitpicky about stuff like that, but I've got to really ask Atlanta Falcon fans, especially, do fans really care about OTAs and training camps? Or are you just ready for the regular season to play? I just there are times now. I love the training camp experience. Been the last couple of years. The only years I haven't been were the COVID years, and I enjoy it. I mean, it's a great atmosphere. You get to go up there with fans and you enjoy yourself and stuff like that. But I don't know if that makes you a bigger fan or not. In my eyes, I mean, you can still be a huge follower, a huge uh, logo waiver of the team, and not be into all of the X and O's. I've seen it before. I've seen some fans. They can't tell you who the second string. I don't know. wide receiver is. And sometimes I'm not gonna lie to you. The last couple of years, they flipped the roster so many times. I don't even think the Falcons know who's on their team. But it's a fair question. So I posed that question to you all, especially my Falcon fans. Do you really care about OTAs? Or are you ready for regular season play? And that's not a trick question because I know sometimes, of course, real fans want to know the team, get to know if a star player goes down, who's the next guy coming up. And for that, I like to be informed, but I understand if you don't. So I get it. So that's one of the questions we have today. Second question we have, of course, the Sunday chill. So we're going to go all across the board. Folks, when, when it's football season, trust me, we'll have a lot more to talk about. But until then, we'll keep it local. The Atlanta Braves. Are you concerned or is your attitude wake me up in August? And what I mean by that is it's way too early to go crazy. I just so happen to look over here at the standings uh, for the Braves here. We're 7 games back. They've already played 57 games. So that's roughly a third of the schedule already. They are 9 games over 500. They had a really good start. Of course, we've had the major injuries to Strider and uh, Ronald Acuna. But I mean, 33-24 is nothing to sneeze at. Philly is on a historic run right now as far as winning games. But so far, we've seen in baseball, especially over the last 5 years, and especially in the last two for the Atlanta Braves, having the best record doesn't really mean much. It's how you peak at the end of the season. So that's one of the reasons why I asked the question in August. When I say wake me up in August, that's really my sentiment. I'm one of those people that I'm kind of like, yeah, it's way too early to get caught up. Am I kind of shaking my head at why the offense isn't clicking like it was last year? A little bit, but I'm not super duper concerned. Not right now. But where are you, more importantly, with the Braves? Concerned or wake me up in August? And of course, the lightning rod sports question of the day, of the weekend. I'm sure you all saw the flagrant foul from around the world, even if you're not an avid watcher of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark taking forearm shivers, knocking her from the back. So I gotta ask the question: is this statement spot on or an overreaction? When I say everyone hates Caitlin, that's what it seems like. Everyone hates Caitlin. We can get into the minutia of whether she is as great as she is, and I'm one of those people that say always calm down on the rookies, especially when they jump into a whole different area. I mean, she in there with grown women now, grown women who are in a different development of their life, in a different stage, and you have to account for that. But then on the other hand, come on, man. Especially my girl Trinity Carter yesterday, former of the Atlanta Dream. When she comes out and just give her the straight knock to the back, I was like, come on. And Angel Reese sitting over there. And then wonder why she's misunderstood. But I know some of y'all are chalking up to she got to toughen up. She got to man up, which she's not a man. But it's amazing to me. Because the funniest part about that whole situation to me is Caitlin Clark leads the WNBA this week and says, I'll retire. Nah, I'm not going to deal with it. Guess what goes along with her? Take a guess what goes along with her. Monetary backing, all the newfound sponsors and attention. Don't want to try it? Let's see what happens. And that's not even a defense of her as a basketball player. I'm like, dang, man, is the hate really that strong? It sure seems like it. And then last but not least, throw our normal pop question in. Plain and simple. And you don't have to go into detail unless you just feel like it. Who is the best? Michael Jackson or Prince? It's an age-old question. It came up this weekend in conversation. That's why I'm bringing it up. And you hear so many great arguments on both sides about both of the artistry. You can't fault either one. If somebody says Michael Jackson, I'm like, psh, hard to fight. Somebody says Prince, hard to battle it. Plain and simple question. Michael Jackson or Prince? Whatever you want to think about it, whether it's a artist, actor, entertainer, musician, however you want to put it. Who do you turn to? Michael Jackson or Prince? And of course, it's Sunday chill, so any questions y'all want to ask, y'all just come on and ask it. It's Sunday. It's a free day. Let's see how everything turns out here in the chat. Shout out to Greg. Greg was first in here to talk to me today. What's going on, Greg? Happy Sunday to you, my brother. Appreciate you. Also, my brother Big John Higgins is in the house. What's going on, sir? Good to see you as well. He said, all we need now is Falcons football. Rise up. Sounds good. Dondre, what's going on, sir? How are you? He said, what's good? I got some big questions. Okay, let's bring them on. Bring them on. Justin, how you doing, man? Hadn't seen you in a minute. What's going on, Justin? What's up, looks like tampering punishment going to be a first-round pick. Yeah, that's not a shock, though. It's not a shock. I think the best thing they did, and that may have been, keep in mind, I'm going to tell you something. Rich McKay being on the committee, that kind of helps with that. I got a feeling he had a hint what was coming. And he probably whispered to them guys, let me tell y'all something. If y'all want a quarterback for the future, you might want to grab him now because y'all not going to have that first-round pick next year. I think that's why the NFL went on to say, you know what, Falcons, going to do what you're going to do this year. Just keep in mind, next year, you might be devoid of pick. And if we are devoid of pick, I don't want to see another defending Kirk Cousins comment again. And God bless him, because I know he was happy. You get that $180 million or $100 million of it guaranteed. I understand you want to shout out to the world. I get it. But yeah, that is coming down. Keenan in the house. What's going on, Keenan? He said, I'm ready to yell at my TV. I am too. Are you a yeller at the TV? I tell you, at the game and even at my TV, I don't know how many of y'all do this, but and I know I probably get on people in my section's nerves sometimes. When I say I'm literally doing a play-by-play talking, I'm literally talking out the game. I'm watching the game. I'm there at the game. I'm literally talking about, yeah, he split out. Okay, he's going in. He's getting ready to pull back. Watch the man in motion. Here he goes. And I can hear myself sometimes when the throw is made and I see the receiver and I say, got him before he even catches it. But I find myself doing that. I know I'm probably annoying. I'm probably not the person you want to watch a game with because I am so super laser focused I'm giving my own commentary. But yeah, yell at the TV, all of that. Absolutely. Barbara, how are you today, ma'am? Thank you for joining us in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Thank everyone else for joining us. As y'all coming in, please, if you don't mind, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitch, if you're on Twitter, please like the video for me. I appreciate it. If you are on either of those platforms, please subscribe. Please follow. We appreciate it. She said, hello, everyone. So ready for OTAs, but miss not being able to go to training camp. Yes, I'm officially concerned about the Braves. That makes sense. Listen, if you were used to watching the Braves in the last 2 years, I can understand why you would be concerned. Strider's a big deal. That's a huge deal. And then we saw Sale fail yesterday and 7 straight wins. Okay, bro, you allowed 1 or 2. No big deal. But yeah, I can understand how the Braves might be concerned or how fans might be concerned about what's going on. I'm just kind of one of those people, especially with baseball, because there's just so much left. You still got 100 games left. That's the only reason why I'm probably not as concerned. She does say concerned about the other teams are playing so much better than when we won it in 2021. We shall see. And the only thing, the thing that you can look forward to as far as that's concerned is if you go back to 2021, if everybody remembers, remember we had to hustle to get that division. And a lot of people say because we were hustling so much, remember we had to overcome the Mets? And we had to fight our way and crawl and claw our way to the division. And some people think because of that, we were battle tested down the stretch. That just eased into the postseason. And we look like a totally different team in the postseason. Because what did we do? We went 3-1 on Milwaukee, 4-2 on the Dodgers, and 4-2 on the Astros. And we basically, I don't want to say unbeatable, but it was about as close as you can come. But you're right. We shall see. My brother Winston is in here from the Eye Test. Y'all make sure y'all check the Eye Test out on YouTube. Usually come on Wednesdays, late night Wednesdays. Y'all check them out. He said, what's going on, Unc, in the chat? Smash that button. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Barbara says, hope the Boston Celtics takes the crown since my Hawks didn't make it. Take SAR Hawks. Yeah, I'm starting to like the other kid they've been showing as well. But I tell you what, SAR, he could be, especially at 19, if he can develop into, I'm not saying he looks like he has that Giannis type athleticism at 19. I would love to see them probably take him, but he's got to have the right coach now. Is Quinn the right coach? Quinn Snyder, is that the right coach to bring him along? Barbara said, Caitlin be flopping like LeBron. All right. Now, okay. I'm not saying there was one of those calls. It was the one against Angel Reese. She may have put a little bit of theater into that one, though. It was clear Angel was trying to swing back a little elbow. And she put a little juice in that. But now, Kennedy Carter, though, if you watch that, Miss Barbara, and I know you were at the game the other day watching The Dream. I saw you were out there enjoying yourself on that. You know when them ladies are going at each other. Yeah, that Kennedy Carter thing was, yeah, that was just straight street. She thought she was playing street ball at that point. And that was just crazy. Because I give you half and half on that one. I give you half and half. Robert says Michael Jackson is the best entertainer, but Prince is more talented musically. Prince self-taught himself almost every instrument. So I listen to Michael a little bit more. Both are fire. You're not going to get too many arguments with that assessment. I think it just depends on what day it is for me. There are some days that I'll tell you Prince is the most talented person, even though Stevie Wonder is my guy over both of them. But there's some days that I sit back and I say, man, Prince was a bad boy. To your point about self-teaching your instrument, playing, and I don't know if anybody's ever seen him in concert. I've seen him multiple times. There is no concert like a Prince concert. None. 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 But Michael Jackson, he's the guy too. Got to give him a lot of credit. Mike has stayed relevant too. Very relevant, even if after he's passed. Justin says, just want OTAs over with everyone healthy. I'm a little concerned with the Braves struggling at home with versus the Nats, Pirates, and the A's. Them girls just jealous of the attention Caitlin is getting. I'll go over all of those. Justin, yeah, to go into the season healthy is the wish list of every coach. The difference, I think, with the Falcons, Justin, is because we have this new regime. I know camp is super important this year because you want to see who's going to be ready to do what they need to do in your new scheme. So it is a lot more important for that. But I agree with you on the health part. Yeah, the teams that the Braves have been struggling against, which is crazy, right? Because when the Braves came out, they took care of Texas and because really the stuff didn't start until that Seattle Dodgers homestand. But they took care of the Phillies. They did good against the good teams the first couple of weeks. But yeah, I'm a little concerned that we're losing against teams that we probably don't have a business losing to. Could be, I don't know. Could be something with the shell shock of Ronald Acuna. I don't know. I still think this team has enough to win a World Series. I think they do. Barbara says Kurt owes us a Super Bowl for snitching. Now, if he wins the Super Bowl, all's forgotten. But yeah, that if that ends up being a first round pick, it's gonna be hard for me to not look at that and say, come on, Kurt. That one Falcon fan in the house. What's going on? Thank you for joining us in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Appreciate you on the Sunday chill. Is that what's good, Unc? Two things. One, the hit on Caitlin was 100% unsportsmanlike. And two, regarding the tampering situation, we might not only lose picks, we may have to pay a hefty fine. Good thing we have Penix. And that was the thing that I was talking about as far as maybe, hint, hint, wink, wink, Rich McKay knew some of this stuff was coming and probably said, hey, fellas, if y'all going to make a move for a QB, the defensive players, it was obvious. A lot of folks didn't think much of the defensive players at the top of the draft. So maybe they're thinking, okay, well, I know people will look at us. They'll question us. They'll say what they want to say. But if y'all going to go out and get a quarterback, you might want to do it in this draft because you're definitely not going to do it next year. And they made the move. Yeah, the Caitlin hit was absolutely unsportsmanlike. I mean, Kennedy caught it. If you guys and gals go and watch, she absolutely, I mean, at some point, now they did upgrade it to a flagrant one, and what the mess does that mean in the bigger scheme of things? I know later on she can be assessed if she gets two of those, and then she'll get the possibility of being suspended. But they're gonna pump Caitlin up. They're gonna try, especially the wannabes, the ones who want to be in her shoes. It's so amazing to me that she has garnered this much ill will. It's crazy. The woman's presence has literally made us talk about WNBA. We wouldn't even be talking about the WNBA if it wasn't for what she's done in her college career leading into her first season. I promise you we would. Both games for Atlanta Dream moved to State Farm Arena. Not because Ryan Howard is any better, and she's great. I think she's awesome. As they beat the Aces this weekend, too. The best team in the league. But, folks, they're not changing arenas because Alicia Gray is playing better. Or Tina Charles is great in the paint. Or Angel Reese went to Chicago. That's not why they did it. They did it for this young lady. And yes, we all know the dynamics. We don't want to talk about it because we don't want to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, you see that young white girl who's dominating on a majority black sport? We don't want to say that out loud because it makes us look like, but that's what it is. And I put on the post last week. I said it. All those times that someone of a different culture, race, or creed that goes into a sport that's dominated by another race, mostly, you're going to get that attention. See Jackie Robinson. See Larry Bird. See Tiger Woods. See Serena and Venus Williams. And now see Caitlin Clark. There's not much difference. There is no difference. Tell me there's a difference. It's not. And each one of those players that I've named made historical first in those sports. You mean to tell me y'all watch Tiger Woods because he could just swing the golf club? Stop lying. He's talented too, but y'all were trying to see if that brother could go to the country club and win. Stop lying if you tell me you were watching Serena Williams beat up on Lindsay Davenport and folks like that because she happened to have a good serve. It's not true. Tell me that the reason why Larry Bird and Magic Johnson's rivalry was because, oh my goodness, Larry Bird is so talented and he can shoot the ball. No, it's going against a bunch of black dudes and thriving. And people like seeing that. And as long as it doesn't get to a point where we, just blatantly being, racist about the situation, and it's not, people get nervous when you see culture changes. People from a different culture come in and dominate. What was the cat in hockey, Subban, that came in? Now, he wasn't great. He was okay. And came into hockey. I think there were a lot of people that just wanted to see, man, let me see this brother that's out here on skates. We don't want to talk about those things, but that's what the truth. And that's what it is with Caitlin. Caitlin hasn't come in. She hadn't said anything controversial. She hadn't done anything that any other basketball player does. But you know what it is? She comes out there and she can play on the same level that most of those folks can play on. Plain and simple. It's not. I don't understand why she gets the hate. You have to ask somebody else. Ask a psychiatrist. I don't know. A psychologist, I should say. Jamal, what's going on, Jamal? How you doing, sir? Good to see you. I was trying to give you some class, brother. Thank you for joining us in here, man. Appreciate you. My brother Brian Davis is in here. What's going on, Brian? How you doing? Happy Sunday to you. That one Falcon fan says seeing Luka's success makes me wonder if we didn't trade him away. If you look at that, they had a little thing with Mark Cuban, where Mark Cuban pretty much said that they had reached out to them as far as the trade was concerned with Trey Young. So I I guess if you're the Atlanta Hawks, you could say, well, at least we drafted the right player and just traded the wrong player. We drafted Luka, which is crazy to me because there was a lot of people. It's so funny how people forget. We traded him for Trey Young. There were folks like, yes, bring him to the city. Bring him in. He'll change things. And Trey Young is good. Don't take that as if Trey Young isn't a really good player. Trey Young just might be in the wrong system right now. Actually, I try. If they go out and get Sarr, shoot, I try to see if it can work one more time with him and DeJounte. I would. We'll see. Barbara said, word is Luka did not want to play for Atlanta. He always said he wanted to play where Nowitzki plays. I know he talked about that before. That's not a big surprise. But we could all dream about if you would have been here. My brother Travis is in the house. What's going on, Travis? How you doing, sir? Happy Sunday to you. Again, as y'all coming in the chat, appreciate y'all joining me so far. Thank you for keep writing in the chat. And again, anyone has any questions, please come on in and talk. Travis says, hey, I think some of the WNBA players feel slighted that all of a sudden people want to talk about the league now that Caitlin is here. Not excusing the foul, but the hype train made her a target. Well, you know, that's not far off. You're absolutely right. It probably made her a target. But here's the thing that you have to probably put aside. I'm sure when you think about the Las Vegas Aces, they won back-to-back championships. Asia Wilson is the top player in the league. You know, Brianna Stewart been balling up there with the Liberty. Diana Taurasi, vintage in Phoenix. Yeah, maybe when you see somebody get all the attention and all the love, yeah, it might ruffle your feathers. But here's the bigger thing. Instead of rebelling against it, use it. If you're the Los Angeles Aces, you know what? When Caitlin comes out, they beat her team. Beat her team. You ain't got to beat her. Play your game. Play your game and beat her team. When you get all Chitty Carter, I mean, you're just going to a lowest common denominator. You can't get her attention, so I'm gonna go over there and hit her. And then don't see that's the thing I like. I don't like. After the game, she doesn't want to talk about it. Chitty Carter. I don't want to answer any. Barely. I don't want to answer any Caitlin Clark question. Well, then why did you hit the young lady? Say that. And please don't tell me. Please don't come in here and tell me that she got that dog in her. Because that's what got her out of Atlanta in the first place. Go check it out. Do your research. This is the 4th team she's been on. And she was going to be great. She was. This is not the first time she's been on this rodeo, y'all. I don't get it, though. The hate is real. Brian says, Uncle Steve, do you think D'Angelo Malone will get more playing time this year? It's going to be interesting. I saw them get rid of Ogundeji like it was nobody's business. It's gonna be very interesting to see. They drafted a lot of defensive players, most of them on the defensive line. I mean, it's gonna be tough sledding. I think he's gonna be a last week decision. Well, they don't do that anymore. The weekly cuts. I think they cut all at one time. I think his chances of making the team might not be as great. I hope he does. I hope the young man gets a shot, but new regime. And you got to remember, Raheem Morris, smile in your face, happy go lucky all he want to. He didn't draft any of these players. He didn't draft any of these players, especially the ones that are the third, fourth, fifth round, those guys. He has no loyalty to them. Now, hopefully, D'Angelo comes out there and realizes that. But Barbara said the NFL draft next year is considered weak, just like the NBA draft is considered weak this year. Yeah. It's not a lot of probably not as exciting. But you know what, though, Barbara? Every year in the college season, there emerges a few guys and a few players. It's kind of hard right now because with so much movement, guys don't stay where they are anymore. I think it's going to be trickier than ever to predict who are going to be the stars in the NFL because you really don't see one person stay in the same place. It was the quarterback we had here with Georgia that Stetson ended up starting over. And he went from USC to Georgia to West Virginia, and I think he ended up with Rice or somebody. I'm trying to think. AJ something. EJ something. Justin says, beside the Falcons secondary, is there another position up for grabs this camp? I mean, I think seeing who the edge rushers are going to be, I think everyone is automatically assuming Ebiketie is going to be on one side. I know bringing Zoe in here is kind of interesting, but I think it's wide open, man. I think it's wide open on that other side. I would love to see there be a true battle between, I don't know, you said secondary, uh, Richard Grant and Helms. So yeah, I mean, that's probably my other side, the other side of the line, the defensive line. It's probably the best decision right there. Georgia, Texas boy, what's going on, man? He says, punter, offensive linebacker, and wide receiver. Wide receiver, I think, is probably pretty. I'm pretty much thinking it's going to be Drake and Mooney out there on the wide receivers. Henry, what's going on, man? How you doing out there? Happy Sunday to you. I saw you last week, Henry. I know we ended up having a panel. And I'm tell you, most of y'all that are in my shows, y'all know I love reading the comments a lot of times, but sometimes when we end up having the panels, I think it's hard because you're in there in the panels, but you're trying to have conversation, and a lot of you that I really enjoy it, and I welcome you all. I'm glad that y'all returned to Uncle C's Lounge. I appreciate it. But I see you. And I promise you I'll get back. But I saw you last week, so I appreciate you shooting back in here. Antonio, what's going on, man? How you feeling today, sir? He say produced, composed, arranged, and performed by Prince. Said Mike always had a dream team of producers behind them, loved them both, but on their own. I choose Prince. I hear you. No argument. And if y'all were wondering, we throw the questions back in there. We're about we started a few minutes ago, and I just want to throw these questions back out there for those of you who are just getting into the chat. We started off with the questions: do fans really care about OTAs and training camps, or are you ready for regular season play? Of course, now is the dead season. I think you got a camp coming up in the next couple of weeks here in June, and then they take off, and then they eventually go get the big training camp in July. Or are you ready to just kick this bad boy off against the Steelers? That's the one question. Braves concerned or wake me up in August, meaning nothing to see here. Talk to me near the end of the season. Or are you concerned? Next, tell me if this statement is spot on or overreaction. Everyone hates Caitlin, meaning Caitlin Clark of the WNBA. She has become a polarizing figure, whether she wants to or not. And then last but not least, just plain and simple, just like Antonio just said, Michael Jackson or Prince. Plain and simple. Michael or Prince. Who you got? Who you got in there? Either one. All right, let's get back to the chat here. Let's get back in here. Let's see what Winston says, let Cooper DeJean stay at cornerback and dominate like a Sauce Gardner. Watch the hate that will come. Absolutely another case. But again, I hear you because you very rarely see white cornerbacks thrive in the game. I remember when Jason Sehorn was out there balling back in his days with the Giants, and people couldn't believe, oh my God, how good he is, and all of that. But yeah, that absolutely. Absolutely. Ms. Barber said, we still got too many holes on that team. Wide receiver, cornerback, safety, edge, still question mark. There are question marks everywhere. I think I don't even think the Falcons are trying to fool anybody into thinking we're a set roster. I think that's fans being a little more optimistic about things. We hope things are going right. We hope that along the way, the Falcons would just materialize into this great squad, from the pretty much the same roster we had in here last year, sans the draft picks. We didn't do a lot of free agent signing, y'all. Not a whole bunch. So you're basically going to have a lot of the roster that was here last year. But yeah, I agree with you. Brian Peoples in the house. What's going on, Brian? Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us here in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Appreciate you. Bobby D in the house. What's going on, man? How you feeling? So what's up, Falcons family? Happy Sunday to all, and happy Sunday to all of you. Appreciate you. It's Francis in here. How you doing, Francis? Said, hey, Uncle Steve and family. Caitlin will be fine. So will Angel. I think the media and some fans are highlighting these two and making them enemies. But that foul was a foul. Absolutely and true. And think about it, Francis. Remember when Bird and Magic started the rivalry back in Bird was at Indiana State, Magic was Michigan State, and they started and it's unfortunate, but we are even in sports when we kind of have the culture clash. And that's what it was with Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. Larry Bird is so underrated. Nobody talks about everybody always talks top 5, top 10. And I'm telling you, in my lifetime, Larry Bird is pretty dang go close to top 5 or 6. I know a lot of people throw some names up there that I'm not going to argue with the younger generation and whatever, because different eras, different types of play. But Larry was that type of guy. And I think the reason I brought that up is you mentioned Angel and Caitlin. Of course, they're going to build that up. When Caitlin and Angel went at it, whether they knew it or not, that final that they had LSU against Iowa last year, that basically built up the momentum going into the 2023-2024 basketball season. And it's manifested into something bigger, and even leading into the national championship game that, they got there again. Caitlin did. And this time she went against the South Carolina girls. And this time she couldn't climb over the hill. So the media wants it. Shoot. Let's not lie to ourselves. Some of us deep down, we want to see it too. we'd like to see, okay, so let's see if Caitlyn does respond to the ring finger thing. Let's see if she does do that. She hadn't taken the bait yet. But at some point, sometimes when you get your name called too many times, you gotta respond. So Caitlyn's being cool now, but we'll see. Robert says, I agree about Caitlyn, it being reverse racism. That's Steph Curry. Yeah. 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 Absolutely. She also says, have you decided which away games you're going to? 100%. I have already purchased my tickets to go to Viva Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. So me and the wife will definitely be there. Hopefully we will join a lot of you. I'm trying to get with my brother Berto from 95 North Sports Talk. He wants to try to see if we can get to that Washington game. That Washington game's in January, mid-January. I'm like, ooh, kind of scared of that cold. I don't know how big my coat is. Pamela Johnson in the house. How you doing, Pam? Good to see you in here. Thank you for joining us. I saw Pam was like Willie Nelson on the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. Saw some media post to you on the move. Glad to see you. Hope health is great for you and safe travels to you this weekend. Antoine TV, what's going on? How you doing? Glad to see you. Thank you for joining us in the house. There's my brother right there. Larry from the Dixon Way in here. Longtime friend, buddy, and more importantly, the co-host. That's right, because I'm going to give Miss Shonda her flowers too. The co-host of the YouTube channel, The Dixon Way. Y'all make sure y'all check him out for live reaction videos from not only local sports, but other big events as well. Today, he was doing the Athletics and Braves game as the Braves finally made us feel a little bit better about this weekend's homestand as they finish off the Athletics today. Again, if y'all want to watch some good stuff, y'all make sure y'all turn up the Dixon Way on YouTube. And he's on various other outlets too. I don't want to sit here and misclaim him on everything he's on, but I know for a fact he's on YouTube. So y'all make sure y'all check him out. Turn up the TV on YouTube, turn down the TV for the national broadcast. I promise y'all gonna be entertained. My brother Philip Crawford is in the house. What's going on, Philip? Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for joining us in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Appreciate you. Henry says, all the defensive line draft, let's hope those can more than fill the void. After debris going to the Chargers and Campbell's status being unknown. It was very interesting that they got so many D tackles, Henry. I was, the first thing I thought about that, I was talking this about my buddy, to my buddy Big Low Country. Y'all make sure y'all check Country out on his YouTube channel. First thing I was thinking about, is that spelling something for Grady? I don't think it is. That's a lot of D tackles. Amenyata's still here on a nice contract. I don't think they getting rid of him. But it's just something interesting that I thought when I saw that many D tackles coming out on the draft. But yeah, I'm a little concerned about that as well. Bobby says, this reality of dead information for NFL stories got us talking about the WNBA. The rise has fallen today. And it's hard because, listen, I pride myself on just trying to be entertainment for everybody and hope we can have good conversation. I know y'all have, I try to have as great of a time as I can with all of y'all. It's so fun to talk Atlanta Falcons. But at the same time, you also have to realize, okay, I'm not going to pretend that I'm going to break down the 40 time of the 6th round pick of the Atlanta Falcons this week. I'm probably not that guy. Y'all got plenty of places to go for that information. I'm just one of the guys that probably like, man, love me some training camp, love to see a couple of things, but I'm ready to get it done. So when you come in here, Bobby, yeah, WNBA, it is. I mean, let's face it. Quite honestly, of course the NBA finals are here, Boston versus Dallas, and we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, right now, I think more people are talking about the flagrant foul with Caitlin Clark than they're talking about baseball. I was looking on ESPN. We know when they put their little bylines on the channel, the first thing they're talking about is uh flagrant foul against Caitlin Clark moved up, elevated. They didn't talk about the Yankees and how hot they are, or the Phillies and how great they're doing. It's that time of the year. And when you have a sport like baseball that you got 100 games left, do you really get that excited in June? That June 2nd? You can't. I mean, you can, but I wouldn't. Demetrius, what's going on, sir? Thank you for joining us here in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Brother, always good to see you. Mr. CDX for life. What's going on, sir? How you doing, brother? Thank you for joining us again. As y'all coming in, make sure y'all hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Let everybody know we out there. We ready. Barbara says, I'm with Winston when they took Rook and could have had Cooper DeJean. I was shaking my head. Yeah. It's really amazing to me that I know Kenny King, I know they got him, but it's kind of strange to me that they didn't address the cornerback position. I'm slightly shocked about that. Do they know something we don't know? Because I'm looking on here, man. So right now, I'm trying to find our cornerback room. Hold on one second. Our cornerback room has AJ Terrell, Mike Hughes. Let me go back here. Mike Hughes, Antonio Hamilton, Clark Phillips, Kelvin King, Dane Cruikshank, Trey Vaval, Jaden Price, Anthony Johnson, and that's it. And look, I'm looking at the teams we have to play right now in our division alone. Mike Evans didn't go anywhere. Chris Olave didn't go anywhere. The little kid on the other side of Chris Olave who burnt the mess out of us in that last game is going nowhere. We better start. We better hope we got that right, Raheem. I hope you got a plan that we don't know about. But we do need to address that. Uh-oh. There we go. Antonio says, I'm not giving up on Trae Young. He has helped carry this franchise further than it's ever been in the playoffs, but the team configuration since that 2021 season has been awful. Yeah, it's maybe, the thing that to me bothered me about coming off the 2021 season is that we went straight into run it back mode. Instead of saying, I know we got caught up in the run going to the Eastern Conference Finals, and that was great. You got some really gritty performances from Kelvin Herter, from DeAndre Hunter. Shoot, even Cam Reddish showed up a little bit in a couple of those games. But there's something that just tells me that we probably should have made a major move there the year after. The DeJounte Murray trade, I think that was a splash. You wanted just to get a name. It didn't even care if he fit. That you just wanted to get a name. And I like him. Don't I love DeJounte. I would be okay if they did make a move with Trey. Because quite honestly, Antonio, you're gonna get more back for Trey than you will for Murray. So I understand why people are saying more, hey, you're probably gonna end up getting rid of Trey Young. But I also say Trey Young has done a lot for this franchise in a small amount of time. Trey Young is a volume scorer that gets to the line. And I'm going to tell you, when he's on our team, people kind of overlook that a lot. Does he take too many logo threes? Maybe. But the one thing he does, he'll take it to the hole. And most of the time, he'll get 15 to 20 free throws a game. And you need that type of player. Travis says, I got to go with Michael, but not by much. His stage presence is so epic. But in the end, we, the fans, are the big winners, having these two in their prime, giving us hit after hit. That's true. That's actually a good. That's actually really good. Yeah, because both of them. Seen both of them in concert. I give the nod to Prince because I think Prince just does a little bit more showy stuff. I can't even say that. Michael Jackson does too. But I give my nod to Prince. Henry says the WNBA this season has turned into the late 80s bad boys, Detroit Pistons. Maybe controversial, but getting some attention. And at the end of the day, Henry, do you think, let me tell you what the NBA is not doing. They're not giving any money back. They're not gonna come out and say, Kennedy, you can't hit the golden goose. Because controversy sells tickets too. Man, do y'all know that game when Indiana goes to Chicago? Oh my goodness. They might have to get a 30,000 seat arena. Because everybody's going to want to see what happens next, especially since Indiana won. Controversy sells, just as long as it doesn't get into a violent uh, part. Dimitri says, Unc, if you have to choose a top 5 all time when it comes to basketball, who you choosing? I gotta go AI, Kobe, Braun, Dirk, Shaq. Demetrius, I know for a fact that you're a younger brother, so I'm gonna give you some of that. I would, quite honestly, out of the list you just named, I'll only take LeBron. With all respect to all the other names, Dirk was a beast. Shaq was outstanding, the most dominant player during his little run. Kobe, y'all gonna be mad at me with Kobe. Sorry, man. I don't get it with Kobe. And that was even before he passed. Obviously, when he passes, the legends always grow a little bit more than he was, but whatever. And while AI was great, AI was definitely a Hall of Fame. All of these guys are Hall of Famers, no doubt. But AI was more show than anything else. Top 5 for me, right off the top of my head, my favorite player ever, 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 ever is Magic Johnson. I think Magic Johnson, and he gets just disrespectfully talked about as far as when I hear top 5s that don't have him close. When I hear somebody say something like Steph Curry's top 5, and Steph Curry is great. But let me finish my list. Magic in no order. Magic, Larry Bird is in my top 5 of all time. Michael Jordan is in my top 5 of all time. Tim Duncan is You know what? I'm gonna make an amendment. I might put Shaq maybe number 5. I might put Shaq number 5. Duncan is close. I'm gonna put a tie for 5 for Shaq and Duncan. How about that? And then I'll round out my top 5. So Magic, Bird, Jordan, Shaq, and Tim Duncan. Barbara says, "Don't do the Commanders, Unk." I went in November and it was cold and rainy, and watching Mariota throw that interception instead of that passing the ball, we could have won that. Could have won that game. Shaking my head. I remember that game. My son and I were watching that game, man, and I just lost my mind. I just lost my mind when he threw that pass. That was ridiculous. Um, it kind of reminds, it almost reminds me, Barbara, when Berto, that's the last year we went to the New York game together. We met up in New York and cold, rainy. I think it was December. It was either second week of December or something like that. So yeah, I agree with. I don't think you're gonna have to twist my arm to not go to that game. Trust me. 3:30. What's going on, man? How you doing, my friend? Good to see you, man. Thank you for joining us here in Uncle Steve's Lounge on a Sunday chill. Appreciate y'all coming in here. Antoine is right. Please hit the like button as y'all coming in. I appreciate it. Andre says, I have a question. Do you think the Falcons will have a top 10 defense? The answer right now is no. I think they might have a okay defense, but it'll have to be one of those 2016 years where you just happen to have a young defense that you schemed up right and get the most out of them. But I don't think top 10. But we don't have to win with a top 10 defense. We really don't. Balance is the key. Barbara says, do you believe the rumor about Drake for Jefferson? Nah, not even close. But don't know what she's talking about. I think the package, if I'm not mistaken, Barbara, I know it was a first round pick. Well, a first round pick we probably not gonna have in 25. But before this tampering stuff come out, I think first round pick in 25, first round pick in 26, and Drake London for Justin Jefferson. The thing that doesn't make sense with that money wise for us is that Justin Jefferson is not. If you get Justin Jefferson and he's not going to get paid, there's no need to even have this conversation. Justin Jefferson is looking at players like Jaden Waddle, who's averaging over 26 million off of his new extension. He just saw Amaron St. Brown get his money, and he sees all these guys getting money. Y'all think Justin gonna come to Atlanta just so he could be with Kirk Cousins? He's trying to get paid, man. He'll go to Carolina if they pay him $35 million. So no, I don't believe that. Not at all. Henry says, I'm hoping Bates, Phillips, and Terrell lock down opposing receivers this year. Clark Phillips is my bold pick to have a breakout season. I know a lot of people were expecting a lot more out of him, which was surprising to me. I think Clark played well, and for a rookie cornerback, I think he did okay. But yeah, it would be nice to see if he's made that step up in his sophomore year in the NFL. I think he will. That is a nice bold pick. Dondre says AJ is number one who lines up across the field. Yes, he is. Absolutely. ATL Skate Man in the house. What's going on, sir? He said, hey, Uncle Steve, the training camp. Let's go. Absolutely. Absolutely. My brother Smitty Sports Machine in the house. In the house in here. And folks, if you don't, I don't know whether Smitty's talking about it or not, but we will be together tomorrow. I got to double check on that time. I think it's 8 o'clock. Put it in the chat. Smitty, I'm not gonna blow it right now, but we got a special interview going on tomorrow that we will be teaming up for. So y'all make sure y'all check out Smitty Sports Machine and Uncle Steve's Lounge. We do have a special guest that I know you all will want to see. Absolutely. Uh, Smithy says, I think the Hawks draft is 50-50. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, either SAR or forgetting the other guy at this moment. He says D Alford is making strides in the OTAs. I almost forgot about D Alford. D Alford was actually not horrible. And people forgot a couple of years ago, D Alford was a very good contributor to the Falcons. Bobby says Drake for Jefferson will be a no-go. Miss Barbara sounds good, though. It sounds fantasy good. Absolutely. Um, Smitty says the Hawks should have gotten a center 3 years ago, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. And I don't know what part you came in, Smitty, and I think that's where I was talking about maybe the year off of the um, Eastern Conference run is probably when we should have made that move. In my opinion, I think that's when we should have done it. Jamal says, Unc, I'm still worried about cornerback to right tackle in our edge room. Hopes and prayers. Hopes and prayers. I, each of those positions, of course, we still thinking Caleb McGarry. You know, that was one of the concerns when we signed him to the extension last year. Not even the extension, he was a free agent. When we signed him last year was to whether he was going to pan out the um as far as the passing pass blocking is concerned. So the jury is still out, but we paying him a lot of money. Jamal says, I'm a Cavs fan. We all in for a hell of a off season. Yeah, man, because Donovan act like he want to get out of town. You just fired Bickerstaff. Yeah, good luck. Good luck. Uh, Barbara says a lot of people don't want Trey's contract, so word is they'll get rid of DJ Moore. 2 point guards just wasn't working, and DJ better on defense. Now, I agree with you about the 2 point guards not working and DJ being better on defense. But I'm telling you, I'd be willing to bet you some folks will listen when you talk about Trey Young. If you're talking about a team that might be ready to do so, I mean, I look at that Lakers situation. If the Lakers dump some of those cats on the team, maybe even an expiring D'Angelo Russell contract. I know he has an option right now, but if they did trade him and when he had 1 year left and we can take that money into 2025-26 and we would get some ancillary players for him and a draft pick or two. I think some people would I think the Lakers might bite. And you look at it, Trey, LeBron, AD. I think people will like that. I think people will like that. Uh, let's see. Miss B's in the house. Hey, Miss B, how you doing? Y'all check out Miss B on her YouTube channel. Please make sure you check out the Queen's Chamber over there with her. She's doing her thing. I can't wait till Falcons season starts and see the chat going on with her this year. It's going to be awesome to see you getting into the mix. Absolutely. Smitty says his top five would be Magic, Jordan, LeBron, Duncan, Olajuwon. Olajuwon is actually somebody I would consider definitely in the top 10. Olajuwon is a bad boy. He's a bad boy. Jamal also says Steph, MJ, Braun, Duncan, Shaq. I'm glad a lot of people are saying Duncan too. Duncan is super underrated. That's another one. Another one super underrated. Jamal says, I think Magic better than Steph, but I want Steph shooting in the lineup. That's fair. That's fair enough. I see Barbara puts her top 5 in there. She says Jordan, Magic, Kareem, Shaq, Bird. I can't go wrong with that. Can't go wrong with that at all. Not at all. Y'all putting some other stuff in here. Uh El Rail in the house. What's going on, man? He says Magic with a question mark. Yeah, Magic. Man, do y'all realize? Again, we're in eras, so you gotta put that perspective on it. So Magic Johnson, quite honestly, he and Larry Bird basically made the NBA a major player. They made the NBA a major team. Almost you could compare it to a Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese type of thing, where they both came in and the popularity and the rivalry changed the NBA and made the NBA what it was. And that's almost like Magic that they, no pun intended, that they put Magic over in LA and Bird over in Boston to make that natural rivalry. Yeah, Magic. Absolutely. Antoine says Michael Jordan, Reggie, Carmelo Anthony, Reggie Miller, Carmelo Anthony, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Allen Iverson. That's an interesting one. That's interesting. Barbara says LeBron says he is going where Bronny is drafted. Do you think the Lakers draft Bronny? Well, the mere fact, Barbara, that I also heard the other day that not LeBron, Bronny is only doing training or uh, supposed to be doing some type of evaluation thing with either the Lakers or the Suns. That's it. That's it. So that's kind of crazy, right? But I think he's going to the Lakers. Anybody that's going to draft Bronny, folks, LeBron not coming to you. He's not. Winston says LeBron, Jordan, Kareem, Shaq, and Magic. It's actually not bad. People sleep on Kareem too. Kareem was automatic when you start talking about uh, uh, just being a dominant scorer. Kareem. Yeah, Magic. Y'all ain't giving Magic. Just like Travis says, man, you young bucks better put some respect on Magic's name. Magic was a bad boy. Magic was a bad boy. People don't even realize it. Said Winston with the only right answer. Okay, that makes sense. I'm just telling y'all, man. Magic. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised y'all would question Magic. Magic was a bad boy, big time. Uh, Barbara said Kareem had a sky hook that was unblockable, absolutely unblockable. And the crazy thing was UCLA. I think they won how many games with Lou Alcindor? Like 80 straight games. He could not be beat. Not even close. Not even close. Travis says point guard, Magic Johnson. Shooting guard, Michael Jordan. Small forward, Larry Bird. Power forward, Duncan. Center, Shaq. That team would go 76-6 if they didn't have injuries. That team, that would be an awesome team. Shoot, three of those were on the Olympic team together. And Bird was on his last legs during that team, but Antoine says the mailman Karl Malone was good too. Karl Malone was really good. Karl Malone was what I call a undeniably solid power forward. He was Dominique Wilkins upgraded. That was him to me. He was really good. Angela says, I'm a young man, but I used to watch all these old school players with my dad. Hey, brother, join the club. That's how I got, shoot. Used to sit down and watch football with my pops, baseball with him, basketball with him. Listen, I wasn't in my 20s when those guys were out. But I tell you what, when the Magic Bird thing started, y'all all crazy about Nike right now. Everybody bought Converse because those were the Magic shoes and the Bird shoes. Everybody had Converse. Everybody. Because that was that rivalry that started. That was it. Henry says Magic, Jordan, Pippen, Duncan, and Olajuwon. That's actually good. Magic facilitates for everyone. Jordan, inside out. Pippen's defense. Duncan and Olajuwon's length, taking care of the low post and mid-range shooting. That sounds solid to me. Pippen, he'll never probably get his due. Pippen was a pretty good guy. They almost kind of remade the point forward position where he could bring the ball up. He's pretty good. Big John in the house, back in here. He's Uncle Steve just came back. What's hot? We talking about top 5 all time. Your top 5 players. Your top 5 NBA players. We're also talking about who's better, Prince or Michael Jackson. Also, we're talking about Caitlin Clark. Was Caitlin Clark? Everyone hates Caitlin. Is that factual or is that overrated? I think most people kind of agree that she's been beat up a little bit. Barbara says, Bird, best white man to play basketball. Iverson, best smallish player to play basketball. I co-sign on both of those. Highlights don't do Larry Bird justice. They really don't. It's one of those reasons why I'm always very passionate about that Magic Bird rivalry. Bird, at the end of the day, probably got too hurt at the end. Magic, of course, we know the HIV scare and not knowing, the things he could have done without it. Or, the advances they made in that research. But Bird, telling y'all just don't know. Bird is probably the reason that Hawks team in 1988 didn't get a chance to go to the finals. That was a very good Hawks team. And an Atlanta Hawks team that I think a lot of people didn't realize. I think that team could have truly could have given the Lakers fits. I think the Lakers would have won eventually. But that was a solid team. Travis says the NBA on CBS was off the chain. Boston Gardens in the Forum at Inglewood were the epicenters for sports. And the crazy thing was back then you didn't have all these access where you could watch 5 or 6 games a night, TNT doing double headers, stuff like that. CBS had it on lockdown. They would have one East Coast game. Most of the time it would be Boston, Detroit, Boston, Milwaukee. They show Milwaukee a lot of times. But the marquee game would always be Boston Lakers. And remember, they only played twice during the season. So when those games came out, it was a huge deal. Larry against Magic. Oh, man. And all love to the players in those rivalries. When you're talking about Boston and Dennis Johnson, Kevin McHale, the late Bill Walton that just passed away, uh, you know, Danny Ainge, Cedric Maxwell, all those guys, and then the Lakers. And I'll admit, I'm a local guy through and through. Man, when I was younger, man, you couldn't tell me Showtime Lakers were the best dynasty team going. That them boys, Showtime Lakers, and not even the first version of it, the one that won the championship with the first when Magic, Kareem, Jamal Wilkes, that version. No, when Magic, Worthy, Byron Scott, Kareem, when those cats came together, that team, Kurt Rambis, that team, oh no, that was a whole different level. Worthy might be the best wingman to a star player ever. Ever. It's a bad boy. Winston says Prince was nice, but no one has or will be the icon that Michael Jackson was. And icon is pretty, that's a probably an opportune word. I'll say this about Michael. Prince was worldwide, but Mike was everything. Mike was all of that. So yeah, I can see that. J Dot, what's going on, man? How you doing? He said LeBron, best all-around basketball player ever. Okay. Maybe. And that's no hate towards LeBron. I do think LeBron is one of the top players of all time. I think one of the things that kind of stops me from sometimes saying that is LeBron, who has kept his body in immaculate shape since high school, has longevity. And when you have longevity, see Tom Brady, you're going to break a lot of records. And I think that's a lot of what we got with LeBron. Does that take away from greatness? Absolutely not. But if you play for 22 years, it's probably a good chance you're going to have a chance to be the all-time leading scorer. John says, okay, on Caitlin Clark, I wish somebody had told her some of this was going to happen. And the Prince MJ thing, sexuality, Prince, straight music, Mike. Okay, that's fair. Because that was it. Because you couldn't tell, when Prince was out, especially when they were in their prime, Prince was coming off 3 albums in a row where you're talking about what was that? Dirty Mind, Controversy, 1999, where it oozed sexuality half of the tracks. Purple Rain dipped into it a little bit, but those 3 albums alone, you're absolutely right. Those are the albums that your mama and daddy were like, you playing that stuff? And we were like, yeah. And yes, Michael Jackson up to that point was everybody's hero. So I can understand that too. That makes sense. Winston says, one player has to go, one player has to be added for your Hawks. Who would it be and why? Okay, the one player that would have to go would probably be Clint Capella. I like Clint Capella, what he does for the defensive end, but he's such a liability at the free throw line. And a lot of times, especially over the last couple of years, I just think the days of Clint gives us some solid minutes, I think they're just gone. I think you need to try to go in another direction, maybe with a younger big man. But I did 21. Don't get me wrong. When Clint Capella was getting 15 to 20 rebounds a game, that was all great. I just think right now He's very much a liability. As far as one player to be added, man, I wish some way we could get Marcusson from Utah. I wish we could. It would be nice to see. I'm not trying to say he's Joker light, but he got a nice little game. I would love to see what Quinn Snyder could do with somebody like him. But I know he's still under contract right now. And I don't even think it's any free agents that I would look at. But that's would be my goal player. Capella Marcusson would be my bring him in. Travis says Duncan doesn't get a lot of flair because he wasn't a big flashy type of player. The big fundamental isn't a nickname that is a nickname. I'm sorry, that fits him to a T, and it brought him 5 titles, and probably should have brought him 6. The Velvet Rope game, the uh, what name? Ray Allen in the corner. Yeah, Tim Duncan, man, just solid. That's the best way you could describe him. Solid. From the moment he stepped in the NBA, from little bitty Wake Forest. Barbara says the Lakers was my favorite team back in the day. Magic, Worthy, Kareem, Scott, Cooper. Yeah, I left Cooper out. Loved them. Michael Cooper was a bad boy too. Don't forget AJ Green. Full force, full honorary full force member with them Jerry curls. Here it says Michael Jackson was like Jordan and Prince was like Kobe. Hmm. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. I, I'm trying to think about that analogy for a minute. I mean, I know what you're saying. Could probably live with that because there's no doubt internationally, Michael Jackson is like the guy. So that would be kind of Michael Jordan and Prince. Well, if you think Kobe is second or third, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. That's cool. We give a gong for that. I like that. Antonio says, why did the Hawks trade Dominique? At that time, they were number 1 seed in the East. That might have been his best chance to get to the finals, especially in the East without Michael Jordan. I was in Baumholder, Germany, and I'll never forget it. The Hawks were kicking everybody's behind. Dominique may have been having one of his most balanced years of all time. Now, if you listen to the TMZ papers back in 1990, like I said, I think that was 90. It's either 92, 93, or 93, 94. If you listen to the sludge going on, there were rumors that Lenny Wilkins just didn't like Dominique. And he traded him for ta-da, Danny Manning. Danny Manning of University of Kansas national championship. I was so mad when they made that trade. I was so upset. And they thought Danny Manning was going to turn us into I was like, we're the number 1 seed and we're trading away our iconic player for Danny Manning. I just didn't get it. I was ticked off. I remember that. Travis says, do you think a Prince MJ collaboration would have worked or would egos doom it from the jump? I don't think they could have probably done it in the 80s or 90s. But I'll be willing to bet you, had Mike hung around until the 2010s, I think they could have gotten together. And like you hear Prince say some very complimentary things about Michael Jackson after he left, after he passed in '09. I think they could have probably collaborated on something. You know, they came close with We Are the World. But Prince just couldn't make it in that room, dog. Prince said, y'all crazy. I would have been nice if Prince could have been on that We Are the World thing. Mark Cheney in the house. What's going on, Mark? Y'all make sure y'all check Mark out on his YouTube channel as well. My brother says, yeah, the Hawks should have traded Collins for Marcusson years ago. Yeah. Yeah. Now they trying to get now the rumor is they're trying to get rid of Collins. Poor John Collins. John Collins said all I wanted to be is a solid player. John says my top basketball player, Will Chamberlain and Shaq is my centers. Bernard King, man, and George Gervin, Elijah Wan, Scottie Pippen, Joe Dumars, Magic Johnson. Bernard King was a bad boy. He was a bad boy. Just could never get on the right team. And George Gervin as well. He was on those San Antonio teams that just couldn't get over the hump. And Joe Dumars, arguably the heart and soul of those Detroit teams. Obviously, everybody was Isaiah was the leader, but Joe Dumars was the guy who came through in the clutch for those guys plenty of times. Travis says, I'm sorry. I'm a lifelong Lakers, but even if I was looking at the Hawks like, what the are y'all doing? The Neek trade made 0 sense. Yeah, that was yeah. I say again, Lenny Wilkins. That's all you that's all y'all need that's all y'all need to know. Hey, listen, it has been awesome. We have been on for an hour and a half. I appreciate everyone joining us here in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Thank you for joining us on the Sunday Chill. Now, you got to check myself and Smitty Sports Machine out tomorrow. So, y'all make sure, be on the lookout. We'll have a interview tomorrow. And I promise you, Falcon fans, I promise you, you'll want to take a look, listen to that, especially if you're kind of an old time fan. You'll definitely want to take a listen to us tomorrow. We got some stuff on tap for you. We'll be advertising it on our channels pretty soon. But check us out tomorrow. I'll be putting it up on my Monday Minutia, and Smitty will be up on his channel as well. So y'all make sure you check us out. I appreciate you. As y'all leaving, make sure you hit the like button for us here in Uncle Steve's Lounge. We're going to be here during the off season and get you rolling into June, July, and then the preseason games of August, and get this thing rolling in September. Until then, we appreciate you. Y'all have a blessed night, and we'll see y'all tomorrow for the minutia. Y'all be good, okay?